Assembly. The runners. As a first step, disconnect the runners. Loosen the screws and remove the metal bar, which has been holding the runners together. Now, take the cylinder bolt out of the runner's socket. The same process will be followed for the second runner. It is held in place by a small screw. Loosen the screw and take out the bolt. Next, set the runners together by connecting the two rods, which will become the stabilization rod, located at the back of the runners. Insert the lateral support into the runner's socket. Slide the cylinder bolt into the runner's socket. The groove in the cylinder bolt should be facing upwards. Remember, the screw at the top of the lateral support should be facing outwards. The small screw on top of the cylinder bolt will hold it in place. The glue should be applied to this small screw. Screw in the small screw with the glue applied. Tighten both screws in the lower joint. Knee holders. Put the knee holders on the lateral supports. The knee holders can be adjusted on the lateral support to any desired height. Simply fasten a small screw at the back of the knee holder. The Velcro straps should be facing downwards. The corset. Lift the corset and carefully put it on the lateral supports. Let it gradually slide down to the bottom, but prevent the corset against falling down with full force. The corset is attached to the lateral supports by means of two screws with washers. Remember the number because the other screw has to be fastened at the same level. Tighten also the small screw located on the lower portion of the lateral supports of the corset. The distance between the runners and the lateral supports of the corset should be equal. To put on the safety belts, you should take off the chest support. Move the cushion in the lateral arm support to the side and loosen the small screw. Remove the chest support and put on the back supports. Now replace the chest support and tighten the screws. You can also adjust the chest support. The handles. Attach the handles to the corset. Fasten the small screw in order to have the handle fixed firmly in place. Measurements. If you would like to adjust the dynamic parapodium to the patient, you should know several basic body parameters. These parameters should be taken from a lying or sitting position. In addition to using a tape measure, any other solid object can be used, such as a hardcover book or cutting board. Apply the hardcover books to the lateral sides of the hip, as shown in the film. Parameter A, hip width. The distance between these books creates parameter A. This measurement should be carried through to the corset, as you can see. Please pay special attention that the distance in the deeper portion of the corset is correct with parameter A. Parameter B, hip depth. Apply one of the books to the abdomen, under the navel or belly button, and the second to the lower back. The book may reach into the buttocks region, at the same level of height. The distance between these two books is making our parameter B. This measurement should be carried through to the corset, as you can see here. Please pay special attention that the distance in the deeper portion of the corset is correct with parameter B. Parameter C, distance from the ischial spine or the front of the hip bone to the ground. This measurement must be taken lengthwise on the leg. Please make the measurement including the patient's shoes, the same shoes which will be used to walk in the parapodium. Parameter D, distance from the half of kneecap to the ground. Please make the measurement including the patient's shoes. Adjustment. You can adjust the position of foot platforms. It can be helpful when the user has a foot which has been changed by disease. If the user is very tall and slim, at the beginning of usage you can enlarge the area of support. Remember, do not extend the small side supports to more than 2/3 of their length. Stabilization rod at the back of the runners. This is incorrect. This is correct. Adjusting the height of the device. Take the screws out of the lateral supports. Loosen the screw. Adjust the height of the device in accordance with parameter C. Raise or lower the upper part of the device. Finally, tighten the big screws and the small screws. Adjusting height of the handles. Loosen the screw. Remember to not raise the handles higher than the maximum position. The user should feel really comfortable and stable. This is correct. Adjusting the height of the lateral arm supports. Move the cushion to one side and loosen the screw. You can adjust the height of lateral arm supports to the user. Remember that the lateral arm support should not put pressure on the armpit or underarm area. Adjusting the width of the corset. Before you start adjusting the corset, remember that the back flap must be closed. If you can't close the back flap, you should reset the flap and try again. Take off the cushion in the front and at the back of the corset to gain access to screws. Remember about the screws in the stabilization rod when adjusting the width of the corset. Loosen the screws. Unfasten the safety belt. Now you can adjust the width of the corset. Keep the chest, abdomen, and lower back supports in a centralized position. Tighten all of the screws. The distance between the runners and the lateral supports of the corset should be equal. Adjusting the depth of the corset. Unfasten the safety belt. Loosen the screws responsible for the depth of the corset. Set the corset to a desired depth. Tighten the screws. Now you can fasten the belt. Adjusting the gravity center. To adjust the gravity center, loosen the free screws in both sides of the corset. You can move the corset forward or backward. Adjust to the same number as you did in adjusting the depth of the corset. The length of a step depends on the correct adjustment of the gravity center. Adjusting position of the knee holders. You can move the knee holders up or down. Forward or backward. Or laterally. The angle of incline is also adjustable. Usage. Entry into the parapodium begins with opening the upper and lower back supports and placing the patient's feet into the foot platforms. Next, place the knees into the knee holders. Now the patient can lift him or herself by the arms and upper body into standing position. At the same time, the patient should be secured and locked in by the lower back support. Then close the Velcro straps on the knee holders and upper back support. Incorrect. Incorrect. Correct. 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 The first steps the patient should take when learning how to walk will be to lean from side to side. To begin forward progression, the user should lean to the opposite side of the step and lift the stepping side handle towards his or her body to lift the foot. This will bring the foot forward. Next, lower the handle to complete the step.